And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Friday, April 11th. We got a hell of a day going on. I'm Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Eric Lindquist. We've got every single team in the league playing today. Not all of them on the slate, but everybody's going in some way. It is going to be hectic. We're doing this all day. We have 3 games at 7, 2 more at 7:30, 2 more at 8, 8:30, 2 9s and 9:30. Greg and I will be live on playback, breaking it down for late swap purposes, ownership bets, all sorts of nonsense. Today is going to be crazy. We're going to get news the whole time. It's going to be fun. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live, and follow us both on Twitter. Eric, you ready for this?
I think so. The famous last words, because 15 MLB, 15 NBA, everything's just insane today, but really good for betting, really tough for DFS because we're still going to get very, very concentrated ownership rightfully on a number of spots. And I don't know, it's going to be a high scoring slate. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You better like every single thing in your lineup. I think my major questions are just like minutes for some of the studs in games that don't have, the kind of implications you might expect. Like, what are we going to get from Cade Cunningham today? Like, what are we actually going to get from him today, or any of these other main guys? Because I really, really want to know right now. Like, if you could tell me that the flip, who's going to play what minutes, I would just choose all of the studs, because we're going to be mixing and matching all these dudes around the value over and over and over again. And figuring out the right combination that direction. That's kind of primarily what I've been doing the last 20, 25 minutes.
It's going to be wild. I'm so pumped for all of this.
Yeah.
I want to take a lap through each game on today's slate and talk about the motivations of each team quickly so people understand what these guys are doing. So I'm going to go game by game. I'll flip through it on the screen for everybody as well. The Milwaukee Bucks are at the Detroit Pistons. Based on playoffstatus.com, they handle tie breaks the proper way. So they have the real info. Bucks are 77% to get the 5 seed. They're 23% to get the 6 seed. The Pistons are just the opposite of that. So they are essentially playing for the 5-6 right now. The Pistons have the tiebreaker, but they're 2 games back. Pistons got to win today and win on Sunday. Milwaukee has to just win 1 game out of their final 2 to get the 5 seed. I don't know how much either team actually cares if they get the 5 seed or the 6 seed. So
the big thing is that, do you know who they play Sunday?
No idea.
They play each other again on Sunday.
Oh.
So it is back to back, where this game is really, really going to matter today for both teams. And then if you get Detroit winning, it's really, really going to matter again, because you would much rather play the Pacers than play New York, right? Like, I feel that way.
I don't have a preference there.
Okay. And I would prefer to play Cleveland in the second round rather than Boston. So I think that's the even higher allure of the 5 seed.
Agreed. Yeah, I think they're going to go for it to the largest, to as close to a degree as possible, where if it's out of hand, then you pull the plug one way or the other. But yeah, I think they're going to play this one pretty straight. Orlando and Indy, which we just kind of talked about. Magic already locked into the 7 seed. Nothing at all to play for. Their starting lineup looks like that right now. So no surprises there. Indy, 97% to be the 4 seed. It would take a very weird scenario for them to not be that. So basically this game, no importance. Any thoughts on Orlando and Indy from a playoff perspective? They don't care, right?
They don't care, but get familiar with these names on your screen, because holy shit, are we going to play these idiots? So
yes, we are.
Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
The Atlanta Hawks are at Philadelphia. Obviously, Philadelphia has been dead in the water for months. Atlanta is 87% for the 8 seed, 9% for the 9 seed, 4% for the 10 seed. Philly wants to lose. Atlanta wants to win.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yep. And that's where Trae Young, I prioritize over Cade Cunningham right now, because there is that 5% chance that Milwaukee just runs them out of the gym, and then you just don't play Cade Cunningham in the fourth quarter. You just pack it in. You're not going to play them Sunday, and then you just move on into the playoffs where, you're done.
Charlotte Hornets, 20-point dogs in Boston today. Hornets, obviously, dog shit, have nothing to play for. Boston has absolutely nothing to play for either. They've been locked into the 2 seed for a bit now. Boston is playing some of their guys. I don't get the sense that they're going to be playing 36 minutes tonight in any way, but they should have very little trouble beating up on Charlotte.
Yep. Thoughts are basically you're not going to play anything here outside of a shot on Tatum, and then in 30 minutes, he goes completely berserk, but more than likely nothing.
Cleveland Cavaliers, 1-point dogs in New York, taking on the Knicks. Cavs are locked into the 1 seed. They're going to be playing their dudes, but they're going to be not playing their dudes the full minutes, so that makes Cleveland a little weird. We'll talk about that in a bit. For the Knicks, 97% to be the 3 seed. They basically don't have anything to play for. All of their guys are questionable right now. This could look very different in the next hour. We're going to get to that one in a bit. You think those guys are playing? It seems like they shouldn't.
It seems like they shouldn't, but Tom Thibodeau always throws that wrench into the equation. I don't know what to say other than, like, what are you actually doing if you play them here? I think this is probably the team that could change the most between now and lock.
Washington obviously sucks. 15.5-point dogs out of the playoffs. Barely have enough guys to play. Chicago on the other side, they are 12% to be the 8 seed, 85% to be the 9, 3% to be the 10. So they absolutely want to win this game. Washington has absolutely no interest in winning this game.
Yeah, and pay attention to the starting lineup on the Washington side. We could get a Vooch surprise start jumping on in there. They've started him alongside Sarr a couple of times just because, again, these games are meaningless to them, so they can do whatever they want. But as it stands right now, pretty clear-cut Justin Champagnie and Carlton Carrington, and that is kind of it for me at the moment. But anything could happen. Like, they could just decide not to play A.J. Johnson today, so just have fun.
Next one up, Miami and New Orleans. Miami is, for all intents and purposes, locked into the 10 seed, 93%, but still 7% of the 9, 1% of the 8. They're absolutely trying to win. New Orleans absolutely not trying to win. Miami does not look very good as of right now. Pelicans, very, very, very shorthanded. We will be talking about them in a bit.
Yeah, and Elf got paid today. Elf got a standard contract today. I don't know what that means. You probably know a little bit better, but Elf got a standard contract offer from New Orleans after he went to Charlotte, after his 10-day was over here with New Orleans, signed the 2nd-day contract, and now he's under contract. Does that limit his minutes now? Because, I don't know, I'm having a tough time figuring out exactly what I want to do with New Orleans, too. Just because now if Elf Creighton's going to be under contract, I think you're more than likely just going to play more Lester Quinones, Jamal Cain, and just kind of limit his minutes, but maybe they just don't care in general.
My guess is that this deal has like very little guaranteed money for next year. It's more of a roster thing than anything else, so I wouldn't read into it.
Okay. That's why I asked.
Yeah. Let's see what else we have here now. Toronto and Dallas. Obviously, Toronto is tanking. You can't trust these guys as far as you can throw them. They might have to play Chris Boucher today. Who knows? They're super duper short on guys. Obviously, Scotty Barnes isn't going to be playing a ton. So they're running low on bodies, but either way, Toronto playing for nothing. Dallas, on the other hand, they are 96% to be the 10 seed. So don't really have anything to play for.
Yeah, don't have anything to play for. I think the main thing is we all got that burned feeling after the first quarter smash by Jamal Shed. And I think that's just kind of the way that I felt about Toronto the rest of the way, where the best lineup is not the closing lineup, and that always annoys me with a team. But we got to still factor it in.
And then we're going to Memphis and Denver. This one means everything to both of them. The Nuggets and the Grizzlies can both be in 6 different spots. The Nuggets can get as high as 3rd or 4th and host a playoff series. They can be as low as being on the road in the play-in. Same for the Memphis Grizzlies. This is everything. These guys are going to go crazy. I would not be surprised to see north of 36 minutes on basically everybody with a pulse here.
Yeah, and they're on a back-to-back too, which is amplifying it. They got beat up by Minnesota in that 4th quarter yesterday. Thank God. You go Minnesota. But Ja played 36 minutes there. And on your screen right now, where did it go? It was like 34 minutes you basically had him at. Again, there is a 38-40 in the range of outcomes. If they just decide, yo, John Morant, buckle up and go. I keep talking about the studs as we go through these games, but those are the ones that stand out because I think the value is so good that we're just stars and scrubsing it and shooting for some of those outlier outcomes.
Yeah, we're getting it here from Memphis and Denver. It's going to be a great game to watch tonight, too.
Oh, yeah.
Brooklyn, 20-point dogs in Minnesota today. Obviously, they have absolutely nothing to play for. They're sitting some guys. Oddly enough, we're going to see Drew Timme get a start and be like a guy that no one pays attention to today because of how much stupid value exists. Jose Alvarado in. I kind of thought he was going to sit. Carlo Makovic out. Okay, here it comes.
Jeremiah Robinson Earl season.
For Minnesota, however, add them to the Memphis Grizzlies and the Denver Nuggets. They've got multiple spots. They can be as high as hosting as a 4 seed. They can be as low as being on the road as an 8 seed. Everybody needs these games really bad in that middle of the West. So, you're going to get Minnesota trying to beat the brakes off of Brooklyn as fast as possible.
Yep, as fast as possible is the key word. They played yesterday against Memphis. That's kind of the way that I look at it. Ant, 9,700, still attainable, but I do think he's a little notch lower than John Morant, than some of these other guys that I'm looking at the guard position as spend-ups. And we have a TJ McConnell that exists on the low end that's just like in every damn thing that I'm doing. So no matter how it pans out, I guess the shooting guard eligibility might change that for me, but I think the least appealing of the studs because they can go to DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and no reason to have them close if they're up 20.
Final game. The one that we just talked about is the last one on DraftKings. OKC in Utah is on FanDuel. Thunder have absolutely nothing to play for, and they've already sat everybody, essentially. They're really running out the dregs of their team. You are getting a ton of ownership to this Oklahoma City team. So if you're playing on FanDuel, you're paying attention to them in a big way. And then clearly Utah is in full tank mode. They haven't been doing anything of value in months, years, honestly. So pay attention to OKC.
Jalen Williams triple-double watch. Jalen with a Y, triple-double watch. I just want to throw it out there for the people. There are some prices that I'm considering. I'll consider it more after this show.
Yeah, he is currently projected for
a little
82% ownership on FanDuel. We've got him projected for 13 points, 10 boards, 7 assists. It's on the table, dude. All right. Good. So let's talk about what it means now from a DFS perspective and where we need to go today. I think the first spot that I would want to talk about, you're probably on the same page as me. Number one guy in our boom bust tool, 73% optimal, 70% owned, $3,700 likely starting point guard, TJ McConnell. Just got to play him, right?
Yeah, you do. I mean, there's those moments that we have where it's like, hey, maybe TJ McConnell's too good that they don't push him enough here, but that hasn't stopped them in the past from just like, I don't know. It just feels like he's in purgatory as far as like the way that Indy views him. And I think that that's just too good when you talk about him, 1.25 fantasy point per minute guy. When you talk about him being 3,700 on this slate and going up against not Orlando and their massive front court that they generally roll out there. It's a different complexion of an Orlando defense that, yeah, they might still go slow, but Corey Joseph, Gary Harris, Caleb Houston, Tristan Da Silva, those four are not positive defensive players. Goga Bitadze is, so keep that for what you will. Rim protection still a thing for a TJ McConnell, but he's going to be able to shoot as many 8-10 footers as he wants, and he's pretty good at those.
Yeah, he's incredible. He was in 72% of my original sim before we got this one started. You're going to be going there quite a bit, obviously, with no Pascal Siakam here. What do you
think about him on FanDuel at 5K? Because that's kind of a different conversation to some extent for me. Like 3,700 is so hard to get away from, but a little bit more muted interest on FanDuel. I think it's a good day to potentially undercut him a little bit at that number and go later, just because there's extra games, extra value, and we have a Jalen Williams that's going to be in everything that you do.
50% optimal, 44% owned on FanDuel. That's tough to get away from. Pacers team without Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, Ben Shepherd, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner. Tough.
Well, right now I've got 100% on DK, so I'm not trying to like poo-poo it by any means. I'm just simply talking through like if you're putting together a portfolio of lineups on both sites, FanDuel's the spot you can at least exercise the idea of getting away from it. I can't do that on DK. I can't do it at all.
Oh, man. Josh Giddey is a game time decision with a forearm injury. Man, I have a billion different things I could say on this one that I'm biting my
Keep them to
tongue
yourself.
for. Just the moment I started reading, I saw forearm. I could feel my mouth smile. I could feel the Rolodex just all these words I just cannot use right now.
Where's the prom joke? Where's the prom joke? Finding it. Try to find it.
Oof. That was close. My heart skipped a beat. I got so excited.
His probably did too.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. So you kind of touched on it though. On the opposite side, the number 2 play here is probably Goga Bitadze, 3,400 center only. He started for half the year. He was much more expensive in those starts earlier in the year than he is today. Wendell Carter Jr. not going to be a part of this one. Neither is Paolo Banchero, KCP, Franz Wagner. Like, they're missing some bodies. Seems like we're going to get a really big Goga day. He's just the center version of TJ McConnell.
So I wrote a note card that, like, old school, like what I used to do when I started betting. I wrote it myself a note where there were 3 players that I wanted to look at where their opening prop numbers were coming into today. Goga Bitadze was one of them. He wasn't available last night. I got him at 21.5 PRA. You know what we have him projected for? A lot better than 21.5 PRA. So
yeah,
I feel really good about sniping that one. I still think it's an advantageous number. I saw 23.5 pretty recently, 24.5. I mean, my God, they just don't have another center there. It's almost like he's been out of the rotation. You just play him a ton of minutes today. So there's more minutes on the table than the 26 projected.
Dalen Terry ruled out. We had Dalen Terry projected for 17 minutes. So, maybe that makes Buzelis look a little bit better. It's not going to matter. He's 1% optimal, 1% owned, but, just putting that out there for everybody. That is
the
news.
Giddey thing's huge, though. I mean, that's the big one, is that you either are playing Josh Giddey or you're getting to something else here. I mean, Kobe White, it's insane to say 8,700 would look good with Josh Giddey out, but I think he'd actually look pretty good because it's a game that they're still going out and playing, and Washington on the other side push the pace and awful defense, and pretty much everything about this game is wonky to me, but it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I got to think nobody's really building things out correctly right now because there's too many games, too much to do. So I think making some educated stands on Kobe White, on not Buzelis, but like there's a world THT. Where they just go to I do have a problem with this guy. I've never gotten THT right. I think it's a THT potential. Like maybe they just give more to Julian Phillips, but like 15.
I mean, if Giddey sits, we're going THT against the Wizards, right?
Yeah, he's a fantasy point per minute guy. And if you're going to take shots in tournaments on guys who are unowned, I think this has just been a theme for me all year long on stuff like this. Give me the guy who has 35, 40 in the range of outcomes in 20, 22 minutes rather than the guy who needs to play 32 that is already being identified by the field who's a bad fantasy producer.
All right, next question, because we got a lot of options here. One of them is standing out. Another one is kind of standing out. All the others kind of look good. Jokic, Giannis, both. What do we want to do here?
I mean, Jokic just feels like too easy, right? Like we just click on like a must-win game. No Mike Malone there. Hi, I want to go and play eternal amount of minutes. I want to do absolutely everything. I have 80-something% in my last run. I don't know where it went. Oh, I closed the tab on accident. That was smart of me. But yeah, it was 82% of Nikola Jokic. And now Giannis, I'm going to get close to 50% when it's all said and done still. I don't find it all that cumbersome to get to both, but I think there's still a pretty decent gap for me where if you have to play one and only one, Jokic for sure, even at 13K, but that's just the dude that he is now. No Jamal Murray. I mean, you just keep playing Jokic in these spots.
I want to see how many lineups do I have with both of them.
I didn't have that many.
Let me look quickly. Because I know we're going to get the question of, like, can you play them together? That becomes a popular thing to ask.
Yeah, I can build
in my 150. I had 23 of 150 with both guys, 15% of my lineups.
Okay. Yeah, I had less than that for what it's worth. I think part of that is the Kobe White piece, like building in some extra pieces of him in the event that Giddey were to sit, getting to more Vooch at the center as well, where, you have Goga Bitadze, you have Jokic eating up center already, but I think Vooch would definitely take a step up if you take Josh Giddey off the floor here. If those guys didn't exist, yeah, there's a world where I probably get to more Giannis Jokic, but I do think everybody's already playing them. And I think, 15%, I think that's a decent amount to have there just off the top of my head. But as you run it through the Sims tool, I do think when I change the projection for these guys and then run it, I get to more of the Vooch, Kobe White side that just kind of gets me away from there.
Jared Butler, Lonnie Walker, Ricky Council, Adam Bona, Jeff Doughton. We're going to be getting into a bit of Philly here. Who do you like the most?
I'm so excited to not talk about this team again until next year on Monday. Oh my God. Everybody is pretty much in play now. You take Quentin Grimes off the floor. I think the most interesting is Lonnie Walker because the usage has just been there no matter what. And now Ricky Council positionality is a big thing too. Small forward, power forward, getting that small forward eligibility for him. I like him a lot more than, some of those 3K pieces that we're looking at on the Orlando side or some of the other potential value that could exist. I mean, I think it's pretty clear cut that you look at Indy, and Indy's got some nice value to be getting to as well. We've gone through that, but I don't prioritize anything, I think is probably the right way of putting it, outside of Lonnie Walker.
Let's talk through some of that Indy value too, because they're sort of like the exact same team as Philly. We've got 20% ownership coming into Mathurin, 35 to Jarris Walker. Obi Toppin's getting some love. Normally we get to Thomas Bryant like crazy on days like this. 3,500 center only, projected for 28 minutes. He's 6% owned. Very interesting guy. If you want to get a little bit heavier here, interesting Goga Bitadze pivot on the opposite side. Maybe he fouls him up here. Who are you taking your stands on for Indy? Obviously, TJ McConnell is just in everything.
Yeah, and I mean, 1,100 cheaper than Drew Timme. I mean, Thomas Bryant, or 1,200 cheaper than Drew Timme. Like, Thomas Bryant's definitely the guy that I've got the most of relative to the field. I've got 30% of him at the moment.
Nice.
I think that's a little bit too low. I mean, the minutes upside is just gigantic. And I'm actually taking some shots on Tony Bradley too. I've got 5% of him. If they just decide to limit Thomas Bryant to some extent, because I mean, Pascal Siakam's actually been hurt, right? Like, that's not just a rest situation. So I think it behooves them to not necessarily have Obi Toppin and Thomas Bryant go out and play eternal amounts of minutes. If Pascal Siakam with this elbow is, somebody that's still going to be somewhat dinged up, Tony Bradley could walk himself into more minutes. It's a game that doesn't matter to them. And that's the one thing where I think you could just see it flip. And Tony Bradley is at least interesting. Again, I don't want to say even more than like 5% because we're talking about a 3K guy that could play 18 minutes. And that's just completely stone dead on this slate specifically. But what I'm looking at is like the outcome of him playing 28 minutes to Thomas Bryant's 20. And I think that's why we have the ownership lower by the field. Like, Thomas Bryant actually matters to this team in a lot of different scenarios where you have any kind of front court injuries.
He absolutely does. These guys are tricky. The Thomas Bryant piece is the most interesting piece to me from Indy, just because of where the center ownership is going otherwise. Like, McConnell, I can't do anything about. But if Goga's going to be 73, he's not that much better.
Agreed.
Than Thomas Bryant.
Again, I have 30% of him, so I'm very bullish on Thomas Bryant getting the lion's share of minutes. But the insurance plan to some extent for me is the 5% Tony Bradley at a flat 3K. And, if they play 24-24, that kind of sucks too. It doesn't suck for, I suppose Tony Bradley could run into it. He's a good fantasy producer too, but it's just one of those spots where it's like, in games that don't matter, if you're looking for a low piece, like a low value piece or something, you might as well look at like a backup center that, oh, hey, Thomas Bryant matters more to us because he can stretch the floor at times or do things similar to our offense. Tony Bradley doesn't really do that.
We've been live on Playback this entire time, playback.tv/Stokastic. We're sharing OddsShopper and the Portfolio EV tool if you're ever interested in grabbing a few bets while we're on the show. We're going to be there after this. Myself and Greg are going to be watching the games. We're going to be breaking down all of the ownerships and late swap that you guys got to do over the next hour. You do not want to miss it. If you have a league pass, you could link your account. Perfect. Watch the games with us. If not, we have 20 VIP passes we could hand out. That'll allow you to watch some of the games. Worst case scenario, you just listen to Greg and I. But again, we have OddsShopper and the Portfolio EV tool on the screen. You guys can sign up and get it. 7-day free trial at any time. If you've never signed up for it before, link in the description of this video. You get expected win rate. You get our OddsShopper ratings, our recommendations for which bets to take, shop around across all the different sports books and pick'em sites, mass betting, mobile app, odds boost calculators, parlay builders. I'm probably missing a ton of stuff. You could check it all out. Totally free. 7-day trial. Link in the description. I have a guy that's weird today that I want to talk about. What do you want to do with Craig Porter?
Yeah, I've thought a lot about him. I don't have as much of him as you do. 32.5 minutes is a big number you've got there. Now, what does Cleveland do in these games, these two games that just do not matter for them whatsoever? I mean, a lot of teams have this kind of scenario, and each team is probably going to handle it a little bit differently, not a one-size-fits-all. I think it's pretty clear on the screen that we're seeing like first half, maybe a first, third quarter rotation, and then that being it that we have projected. And in that event, Craig Porter Jr. is the guy who is going to eat up everything. There's already no Donovan Mitchell. So yeah, that's going to look really, really good for Craig Porter Jr. out there with the entire offense to himself. We've seen Jalen Tyson at times. We've seen Tristan Thompson, who's probably going to end up closing this game. Evan Mobley, again, no reason to go crazy with his minutes. Just basically, this is a light workout for Cleveland. Get out of there safely and get home. Craig Porter Jr. is your fourth ball handling guard in the pecking order. He's the guy who could probably absorb a lot of it. 32.5 is a huge number, though, and like it's a pretty calculated stand over there by you, that's for sure. But there's no doubt I've thought about it. I thought about betting him the other day, and they just didn't even have lines show up for him because I was like, oh, Ty Jerome's played so well, maybe they'll limit his minutes. And then it became pretty clear. It's like, I just need to bet Ty Jerome, and I did. That worked out. But what are you kind of seeing with Craig Porter Jr.? Because that is a huge minutes projection.
What am I seeing? I'm seeing a guy that we have projected for a 36% optimal rate at that minutes projection and 13% ownership. And it's becoming this massive positive leverage spot. I think he's probably going to still look like a positive leverage play, even if that minutes number was 26. I think he's still probably coming in north of that 13% number. So I do feel like there's a little bit of wiggle room there. No doubt, a little bit of a scary number. We really just don't have any idea what we're going to be getting out of those main Cleveland guys. But when Craig Porter's on the floor, that dude's looking for himself and himself only, and I'm willing to take those chances, at least as of right now. We are live to see things change, though. Tyler Hero in, Alec Burks in.
Wow.
Eric, this is the second to last day of the regular season, and these types of days, day 81, day 82 of the regular season, it tends to bring out a different kind of player. So we might have a couple extra choices today. Who's going to be tonight's White of the Night? Down goes Musa Diabate. Yusuf Nurkic up to 6K on DraftKings now. Not sure we're going to be shaking him loose today. We are going to be shaking loose some Whites of the Night tonight. Got a couple options. Some of them are heavily owned already. I don't know if you're going that direction, but I do want to know which direction you're going. But first, the starting lineup for the Philadelphia 76ers: Butler, Walker, Council, Bagley, and Bona. Just for the record, that's exactly what we had. So no changes.
Yeah, it is. So I've been talking about Chicago a little bit. I think there's three cheating answers on today's slate. Goga Bitadze, TJ McConnell, and Nikola Jokic are your three highest owned players. They are all cumulatively the three-headed dragon of white of the night if you really want to, but I'm going to get a little bit different. I think Josh Giddey, in the event that he plays, ends up a little bit underowned. And we just got done going completely in on it. I boosted Kobe White. I boosted Nikola Vucevic. I'm also boosting Josh Giddey because I do think there's a chance that people just don't play this hand correctly and have like the swaps in mind for it. So I was screwing a little bit with it before the show. And I think there's just ways that I can get off of the Josh Giddey exposure, especially now that you have Karlo Matkovic out. That's changing New Orleans a little bit for me. I think that there's some salary that I can spend in places like Anthony Davis, obviously already building out the John Morant and Nikola Jokic at different positions. But Josh Giddey, if he plays 10-5, I still think the sticker shocks there. The guy just continues to do ridiculous things, win in, but we'll check on that forearm. You're white of the night, Josh Giddey. Thank you.
I like it. I like it. Bucks will start Rollins, Prince, Kuzma, Giannis, Lopez. I'm not going to be weird here with mine. I'm going to go chalk, but it's not Tej. Give me Jokic. They need the win more than anything. They're going to go balls to the wall. Team's been in turmoil. I think you're getting a banger out of the big man today. Nikola Jokic is your white of the night. McConnell, Mathurin, Walker, Toppin, Bryant. That's what we had, by the way.
Yep.
Super chat from Sunflower. TJ and Shed, Porter and Jared Butler. That's Porter and Butler.
Jamal Shed. It's going to be... I mean, you get like TJ McConnell is on one side of the aisle. I like Shed the least of the four.
That's the problem for me.
That makes it kind of hard on me. But again, Jamal Shed could absolutely smash. There's no question. There's also a chance he plays 20 minutes. Like Toronto's the one team that I think just freaks me out in terms of any minutes projection you put next to it because they just find new and interesting ways to surprise me. They basically have an 8-man rotation right now because Chris Boucher.
I would rather go to Cole Anthony or Jeff Doughton over Shed.
There you go. I would too. So TJ and those two as opposed to Craig Porter and Jared Butler for me.
Yeah.
Cole Anthony I love on this slate too. I'm glad that you gave him a shout out.
Oh, Michael Wallace sent in a super chat before the show started. Last two in. I think that's probably Achua. So he's a no, assuming that says Achua.
Yeah, I'm
at least for right now.
Yeah.
And Caleb Houston is probably not a guy you want to get to. He's next level bad. So Toppin and JRE, but honestly, I would
blow it all up.
Yeah, it's Toppin and JRE. I'd probably be looking to swap that around a little bit. JRE, I don't mind.
Again, JRE completely changed. Do we have updated ownership on him?
Projections went in at 629. Ownership hit at 623. So I'm going to grab all of that right now. Okay. You can take a peek for that yourself. This will take me about a minute to grab our files.
1 minute. It just hit. Jeremiah Robinson Earl now is just ungodly owned. So yes, I had a feeling that was coming.
And so I knew I liked him more. I didn't know how much more we were going to be liking him. Turns out quite a bit. What is his current ownership now?
60%.
There it is.
59.5, and then optimal nearly 70. I mean, I'm just playing him in everything.
Yep, that makes the answer to that question very clearly the JRE side. Who do we want to talk about? Who haven't we touched on yet that you've got your eye on? Because you tend to have some stands.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not that I tend to have some stands. It's just the stands find me, if you will, Josh. Can we talk about the Celtics? Anything? Anything? Like, what are they doing, first off? And we have Tatum projected for 31 minutes. I'm not saying you need to get away. You're not getting away from Giannis or getting away from Cade Cunningham in a game that still matters to them here at the moment. He's playing Nikola Jokic. Like, I like them all more as spend ups, but the positionality of Tatum, small forward, just to give you a different lineup look. I'm at least intrigued in the event that he plays 30 minutes and puts up a nuclear bomb, but there's no Jaylen Brown there. So He's going to have unlimited opportunities. Peyton Pritchard's kind of been priced out of this slate. The positionality is impossible, but the only guy I want to talk about is Jason Tatum at all, just relative to any of the spend ups.
I had 3% on my last run. I'm guessing I don't get too much more just because the other spend ups look so much better. But I mean, would it be surprising at all if he just blasted Charlotte in 30 minutes? No, not at all. It wouldn't be shocking in any way. Just beats the brakes off of him and then calls it a day heading into the fourth quarter. It's all about, is he going to beat Giannis and is he going to beat Jokic? And I just think those odds seem long today.
All right. So then let's go to Washington, because I think this is another kind of murky, disgusting one.
Oh, yeah.
It is an awesome game environment, though, up against Chicago. What is it? 237.5 Vegas total. Pretty gigantic number that we've got there. Obviously, a lot of different pieces, but I don't think Tristan Vucevic is really somebody I'm going to roll the dice on unless he's starting. It's just not that kind of a slate at center. The Indy side, the Tony Bradley one, is just simply saying, hey, maybe they value Thomas Bryant, and then you have a guy that I was making a pretty large stand on. Like, just again, it's 35. It's a third of my lineups, and I'm happy to make that stand with Bryant mainly. But I think this is another like lineup filler spot. They're more expensive than some of the Philly pieces, but I think Colby Jones is kind of interesting, no matter what. Like, I know this just sucks to talk about, but he's 4,200, and again, there's no reason that they have to have AJ Johnson out there for whatever, or Justin Champagnie. Like, in the event that he plays 29, 30, 32 minutes, like, we've got a world where Colby Jones, 0.9 fantasy point per minute producer in a Chicago game environment, or maybe it just gets out of hand and they take out Kaishan George or Champagnie or something like that, where Colby Jones has a lot of different ways of working out. They are 15.5 point dogs after all to Chicago. So what are you thinking of as far as Washington goes? Because I've got some disgusting guys looming.
So I had a bunch of Champagnie. I just finished a run right now. So I refreshed it. I'm going to copy these over so we could take a look. I hope you don't think that me laughing about Colby Jones had anything to do with your take, because it doesn't. The problem for Colby Jones, he's been a bit of a thorn in my side to start each day. I have been recommending that dude in the top 5 of contenders for like 2 or 3 weeks now, because he keeps spending. He'd be like guaranteed value in the morning when we didn't have it just yet. So I've done multiple contenders reads for that dude, and he doesn't end up having that ownership by the end of the day. So it's just interesting to talk about him, because I have been talking about him oddly a lot for the past 2 weeks. I had to look for clips of that dude playing. I didn't even know what he looked like.
Yeah. He played
hard to find on the floor when I don't know him.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun. That's late NBA season. Come Monday, or I guess Tuesday, because that's when the planned tournament will start. Come Tuesday, we'll have a little bit easier go of it. That's for sure. We'll get consolidated rotations. We'll get normal good basketball, or theoretically. That's kind of what we're talking about. But for now, we're trying to find minutes upside where there might not be. He's played 32 minutes the last 2 games. He got up to 37 minutes 4 games ago against Orlando. It's just a dude who can spike in terms of not even usage, because he's not even like a high usage guy, but he can just run into minutes, run into rebounds, decent enough rebounding rate. Like, I don't know. It's just the small forward position is just such a weird one for me on today's slate. We still don't have like a guy to go to. So like, I'm kind of playing the Rolodex game where it's like, all right, I'll take a shot on some contrarian pieces like Michael Porter Jr., somebody that we didn't even talk about. Like, I think is, at least like interesting for tournaments, because, you could see an influx of minutes. Lonnie Walker, probably my favorite piece, but everybody's already playing him. And, there's Champagnie, there's Mathurin. If you think there's like some kind of a minutes upside there, I don't. But like Colby Jones is 4,200 on the cheap end. And like, I look at the other cheap small forwards outside of Ricky Council, and like nobody's popping.
I hope that I get him, but I don't have Colby Jones right now. I did pull up New Orleans for right now just to show everybody what those changes look like. JRE 3,300, power forward only. Karl Anthony Towns out. Keep them coming, Tibbs.
Oh my God.
That changes the Precious equation.
Yeah. He looks
also,
better.
We did get the Pistons lineup: Cunningham, Hardaway, Thompson, Harris, Duran. We did get the Hawks lineup: Young, Daniels, Risachet, Gay, and Okongwu. None of that's surprising. Come on, Knicks.
Are we gonna have like a Mitchell Robinson? Like, no.
I doubt it. We got a bunch of super chats over the past 5 minutes that we need to hit on. Pierre, top 5 value plays on FanDuel, not on OKC. We also have favorite power forwards on FanDuel, not named Williams. So let's try and hit both of those at the same time if we can. Power forward we'll get to when we get to power forward. But as I look at FanDuel right now, we're not supposed to mention Jalen Williams. He's tops. Nikola Jokic is your best center option on FanDuel right now.
Correct. Not close.
We'll work backwards since we started with Jokic. Power forward, we're not supposed to say Jalen Williams, but we can say it. Actually, we can't say it. He's on both no's. He's
Goga.
no OKC and no Williams. So Goga Bitadze is going to be your best power forward option. Small forward.
Dylan Jones.
Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, one of the two.
I don't hate Dylan Jones.
Yeah.
Shooting guard is going to be Josh Giddey. Are we allowed to name former Oklahoma City Thunder players?
I'll say us Oklahoma City Thunder player Isaiah Joe.
There you go. And then point guard Jeff Doughton.
On FanDuel, I thought I got to him quite a bit. Jared Butler on FanDuel still too.
All right.
No, John Morant, FanDuel.
C. Pierre, Jarris Walker, or Tristan Da Silva?
Jarris Walker, Tristan Silva. Tristan Da Silva for me, I think. Let me double check.
I have 26% of Walker. I have 33% of Da Silva. It's pretty much a coin flip for me, but I guess I'll lean Da Silva.
Yeah, Da Silva for me.
Chris Albers, that just got here, had to sneak away at work to pop in and ask this question. Who are your must plays for tonight? I can just tell you who are the guys that I have the most of. I have 4 guys in more than 50% of my lineups. That's Nikola Jokic, TJ McConnell, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, and Goga Bitadze. Eric, do you have anybody that you want to add to that list?
Nope. That is
by the way.
That's the list.
Okay. Yeah, they are also the 4 highest owned guys on today's slate. So I'm not exactly reinventing the wheel with those names. 6:45 Eastern time. We have 15 minutes on the dot before the hecticness really gets started. I think it's now time to figure out the real one. The best play of the day. You guys might call them like your lock button play or your favorite play, maybe top contender. I heard somebody in this industry refers to it that way. Or sometimes you just call it the nuke of the night. Nuke of the night season here, folks. Chat seems excited. We got a lot of you guys out there right now. 1,800 in the door. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Eric, nuke of the night.
All right. Let's talk the theoretical thing. I keep going back to Chicago, but they're a later locking game. They continue to be a team that I'm just interested in pretty much every iteration, depending on what happens with Giddey. I really like Giddey, but I brought him up before. And it's just underrepresented. It's not even like a crazy change to his rates the way you might expect. You take Giddey, Ball, DeSunmu, and Levine off the floor. This person only has a 1.17 DraftKings points per minute. And it's like just a 500-minute sample size, 491 minutes, right around 1.2 DraftKings points per minute. But then the matchup is obviously ideal. They're huge favorites here in this spot. I love a just not even owned whatsoever Kobe White, my nuke of the night. If you get Josh Giddey removed from this equation, him and Vooch, and I think Vooch will be the guy that, he's already 10% owned, already kind of leaking in the lineups. But every single time I keep looking at Kobe White, 5-6% owned. Oh boy. You get Giddey out of there. Give me him for eternal usage, 40 spot. I will be looking at alt point lines as soon as we get off this. Kobe White, your nuke of the night.
I don't have fun things to say. I'm just going to explain it the way that it is on the screen because that is all that I can do in this particular instance. The price tag is low. The position is, generally speaking, tough to fill, and I am paying up in spots that this dude doesn't play. So it's gotta be Kane. Jamal Kane, your nuke of the night. 34% of my lineup, 16% owned.
You definitely went like full Bane on that. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I didn't know what else to say. I don't really know a single thing about Jamal Kane, but I'm 2xing the field, and he's a value small forward on a team that barely has players.
Yay! Also, people are calling us the dream team. I appreciate that. What kind of dream is probably what you need to specify, but we appreciate that.
I mean, they usually call it a nightmare, but that's besides the point.
Oh man, it just reminds. Sometimes when I'm on shows with you, it feels like I'm back on with Adam, where he's just looking at me like, "Dude, what are you actually talking about right now?" I think I keep it probably more professional with you than I do anybody else, if I'm being honest, and I don't know why.
That's weird because I feel like I'm so much more likely to do ridiculous bullshit when I'm on with you than if I'm on with somebody else.
I have to like level it out somewhere for like with Greg, I'll be the ridiculous one, but I got to kind of level it out to some extent with you.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm setting off the turnbuckles for wrestlers, spelling their name in a completely different way. We got a projections ownership or update at 646. Ownership should be hitting within the next minute or so. AD in, Klay Thompson in, Dinwiddie out. Jaden Hardy available to play. Dante Exum, welcome back.
Okay.
We had Dinwiddie in for 29 minutes.
Yeah.
Got to assume Jaden Hardy's going to soak up a decent chunk of those. Probably not going to matter all that much. Yeah. Ownership is officially updated. That is going to be our official sprint to the finish line, folks.
Point Najee Marshall again. That'll be fun.
Maybe. Feels possible, that's for sure.
Glad DK hasn't changed his positionality for 3 games.
All right, I'm going to start updating all of the stuff that you guys can see on the screen. I'm going to run my final sims.
Me too.
I'm excited for this slate. Like, I know it sucks from a lot of these guys are dog shit. We're going to be, quote unquote, playing all the same plays and stuff. That's not really how it ends up working out when there's this many games. But I love the late swap opportunities. If you have the sim tools at Stokastic, you are so far ahead of the curve on a day like today, because if you're using our sims and you're updating for late swaps as the day goes on, it's going to be pretty tough to put together a bad lineup unless you were really manually manipulating a lot of the data on the back end. It's just an easy day to put yourself in a good position. You can't guarantee wins on a day-to-day basis, but you can put yourself in a good spot, and using our stuff just does that.
Somebody said Zachary Risachet sneaky tonight. He'd be sneaky if you could just go back in time and take his fantasy points from yesterday, but that's about it. I don't find him all that appealing.
Did he have a big day yesterday? I don't know anything that happened because I was at Puppy.
He had like 38 real points.
Okay.
He's done that a little bit recently.
But, all right. Yeah. Any projections that you see on the screen are now updated for our most recent projections run. I'm flipping it over to New Orleans again, just so people can keep an eye on Jamal Kane.
Your boy.
My boy, dude. No one is a bigger Jamal Kane supporter than Josh Engleman. That's been known since time immemorial.
Oh my God. What a life we live. The amount of Kobe White I have is actually disturbing to me. So I should probably
mute
that. I look for a way to get different on a slate like this, where it's like one piece. I need to find one guy that I think is underrepresented. It's an 8,700 Kobe White that's never going to get owned. And the swapping off of Giddey, I think, is going to throw a lot of people off. So I'm cheering for my White of the Night to not play basketball. That is for sure. And then the other White of the Night, Kobe White. Let's go.
There we go. Uratal hit us with a member message. Last man in on FanDuel, 4,700, can be point guard or shooting guard. Right now in our data, that's going to be Jeff Doughton. 4,700 on the dot at point guard.
Yep, that's the guy. Can't imagine clicking on anybody else.
And Hookshot God 718 said, what's the FanDuel projection? I assume that was in reference to New Orleans. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, not the same guy on FanDuel as he is on DraftKings. Center only. Very uninteresting.
Facts.
Okay. What else can we touch on? I've got my sim running. I assume you do as well.
Yes.
I hope I maintain my Jamal Cain. I don't want to have to go back and set off another nuke.
Oh, man.
I'm hoping that first nuke did the job.
You and Ben Raza, both of you, just asking for pain for the world.
I mean, I know we went a different direction, but I don't have to. It happened, right? It happened.
Yeah. You wouldn't have a lot of time to think about things.
Who's the guy you have, or at least had before, that you're expecting to have that you don't want to have?
I don't want to have any AJ Johnson. I don't want to have any. I don't even know. My brain can't process this many players and this many things going on. So again, it's a great day to set it and forget it. Jamal Shed, I don't want any of, even though now he's 6% owned. So like his ownership has plummeted throughout the day. I hope I maintain a little bit of Craig Porter Jr. I'm kind of on to what our data's looking at there, where he's still got such a high optimal percentage. So I think I might have to just make sure that he is still showing up in lineups. Oh yeah, no, he's definitely still showing up in lineups for me. So that's good. But yeah, building my top 40 here, just putting these in and calling it a day. 32% Jamal Cain. Happy with that. Good times. Good times.
There we go, brother. Welcome to the Cain team. I'm pasting mine in right now. So we're about to see. I have 27% of Precious Achua. I can see that right now.
How much?
27.
That's a lot. That's more than my 2%. So I should probably.
He is 34% optimal. Right
I saw that. Okay. I did update it in the recent update. Whew, I was gonna say I had done a manual thing with his ownership, with his deal, and sometimes you have to go back in and change it on the projections page. So I am fixing that. I'll be all right.
35% of my boy Jamal Cain. My final top exposures: 75% of Jokic, 61% of Jeremiah Robinson Earl, 59 Bitadze, 57 McConnell. Big stands on Jamal Cain, Craig Porter, Precious Achua, although I think his ownership will be a little higher. And is that real? As of right now, I have a decent chunk of Jalen Brunson.
Oh, no. I mean, no cat.
I mean, if that could be swapped if need be, but I have Brunson right now.
That's got to feel good, huh?
I mean, if I knew Jalen Brunson was playing 35 minutes, I love it.
Yeah, we don't know that.
But
I have no idea.
So he might play 45 minutes. Jalen Brunson available to play. All right. Let's spoke that one into existence.
He shall appear. That's
Ananobi in, Josh Hart in. Tibbs says, I don't give a shit. These guys are playing till they can't walk.
What a guy. What a guy.
Let me see if we have any messages in Discord right now.
Mitchell Robinson starting.
Nothing in no questions in Discord. If you guys got any questions, we could break those down. Did you end up getting to any Ja Morant? I have 17%.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, not 17%, 12%. So I literally just had him on screen. So
how about Cade?
Put him in. I got 8. I want to give a little bit more. 8.
Alex Diaz says they still haven't secured the 3 seed. They more or less have. They're 97% to get the 3 seed. They would have to lose both games today and Sunday, and then the Pacers would have to win both games. So can it happen? Yes, but it is a 3% chance that they don't get that. So Probably not the reason you want to sacrifice Brunson to the basketball gods, but I hope they do based on my exposure.
Oh, boy. This is going to be just wild. This is going to be a wild slate. The Knicks are a little bit annoying now. I'm just looking through my lineups. They're annoying. Yeah. I think Anthony Davis is kind of annoying, but I think you play him.
Like in life or in this slate?
Maybe both.
He's pretty annoying in life, too.
I feel bad for him, actually, in life. It's hard to feel bad for a professional athlete, but I actively feel bad for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, so do I. Seems like a good dude.
Yeah, he just kind of got thrown into the fire for no reason.
Dorian Ogans, probably enunciating that one incorrectly. Bain and Council, or Edwards and De Silva. I assume that's Anthony Edwards.
So Bain is interesting if you're going to ramp him up to 38 minutes, but I like the Edwards De Silva side for sure. Bain's the fourth on that list in terms of priorities.
Yeah, I mean, Bain is getting essentially no ownership, and he is in a spot that matters heavily. It also matters very heavily to Minnesota, so that's an interesting balance. I barely have Bain, so I think it's got to be Edwards De Silva.
Yep.
Clay 50 piece, that seems unlikely, but I wouldn't say no. I would say we've sort of reached the end of the line here, though. Yeah, final live before lock for you and I of the regular season. We get normal basketball starting next week. I have a strategy show Sunday morning, though. Tell the people what you've got going on.
Oh, God. MLB and NBA Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks over on the OddsShopper channel. Have a bunch of shorts coming out and about for the people as well. Got a bunch of text threads, Twitter threads, text threads, that'd be fun. But just firing up content everywhere. You can find me over here on Stokastic for Live Before Lock for MLB, for NBA, getting some PGA Live Before Lock, so we might be trickling in here as well. So looking forward to talking a little bit of golf. Didn't get the chance to be able to do that with the people this week, but hopefully here in the future. And as always, thank you so much, Josh, always being just a lovely co-host, making my days better.
I wish that I could have taken some chances to talk about the Masters. I think that would have been incredibly helpful for people if I could have just given people my thoughts. Because the lineup that I played is going to be 3 of 6.
That's tough to do. Sepp Straka did absolutely kick me right in the fanny today. He was 5 under and then finished awful the last two. He was 5 under in his round today after a blow up yesterday and ended up missing the cut. So that was hurtful. Who were your 3 that missed?
Pendrith, Eckroat, and Highsmith. Yeah, whatever that guy is, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
I got two of my 3 makes made it on the number. The only guy that I had that's worth a shit is Scheffler. Anyway, we're locked. We're heading to playback. Playback.tv/Stokastic. I am dropping the link into chat right now. You guys should go join us. We're going to watch some bad basketball today. So get ready. Have some fun, everybody. Hit the like button on your way out the door. We'll talk to you later.